I want to tell you about something that does not look like much. A small step, not a breakthrough, not a dramatic improvement, not a session that leaves you feeling transformed. Just one small step, one slightly better thing, one small piece of something learned, practiced, understood. It does not feel like much when it happens. A vocabulary word reviewed, a sentence practiced aloud, a short listening exercise completed before work, a paragraph written in English at the end of a quiet evening. Each one on its own feels almost too small to matter. But here's the miracle. Small steps taken consistently over time do not add up. They multiply. Week 1, 10 small steps, small vocabulary, simple sentences, basic listening. Week 4, 40 small steps, each one slightly further than the last, each one building on what came before. Month 6, 260 steps. And the person at step 260 is not just 160 steps better than the person at step 100. They are fundamentally different because the steps have been building on each other, reinforcing each other, each one making the next one slightly easier, slightly more possible, slightly more natural. This is the miracle of small steps, not the single step, the accumulation. The compound effect of showing up again and again in small ways over long stretches of time and letting the steps build something extraordinary from materials that looked completely ordinary. Today's story is about a young man named Zaid. Zaid did not believe small steps were enough. He wanted big results until he stopped looking for the big result and started taking the small steps and discovered, slowly, quietly, really, the miracle. This is his story. Meet Zaid. Zaid was 22 years old. He had just finished his military service and was preparing for the next chapter. He planned to apply for university, a competitive program in engineering. He planned to find part-time work to support himself during his studies. He had a clear direction and the energy of someone ready to begin. He also had a goal he had been carrying since school: improve his English, not just for university, though the program required strong English, for himself, for the world it would open, for the version of himself he had always imagined but never quite been able to reach. He had tried learning English with intensity before: big sessions, ambitious targets, dramatic effort for short periods. Each time, the intensity had faded and the progress had stopped. He had concluded, not quite consciously, but somewhere inside, that he simply was not someone who improved at English through steady effort. He needed the big sessions or nothing seemed to happen. His neighbor Hamdi, a quiet, thoughtful man who had been learning multiple things over many years, watched Zaid's pattern from a distance, and one evening invited him for tea and asked him a simple question: what Hamdi said. Hamdi was 45 years old. He had learned 3 skills after the age of 30: a new language, a musical instrument, and a technical certification, all of them through small daily steps over long periods of time. He asked Zaid, "When you studied English before, how long were your sessions?" 2 hours sometimes, said Zaid. On good days. On bad days, nothing. Hamdi nodded. And how long did each attempt last before it stopped? Zaid thought. A few weeks, usually. So, said Hamdi, you were doing 2 hours occasionally for a few weeks. What if I told you that 15 minutes every day for 1 year would produce more than 2 hours occasionally for a few weeks? Zaid looked at him. 15 minutes, he said. That is so small. Yes, said Hamdi. That is exactly the point. He poured tea for both of them. Big sessions are exciting, he said. They feel like real effort. They feel like you're doing something substantial, but they are hard to sustain. Life interrupts, energy runs out. The big session misses one day, then two, and then the whole attempt ends. He looked at Zaid. But 15 minutes? 15 minutes can happen on any day. Even the most difficult day has 15 minutes somewhere. And 15 minutes every day for a year is 91 hours. 91 hours of consistent, daily, building on itself English practice. He picked up his tea. Small steps taken every single day compound. Big steps taken occasionally do not. Lesson 1. The first small step. The next morning, Zaid took a small step, not a big session, not an ambitious 2 hour plan, 15 minutes. He sat at his desk. He opened a free English course he had found the previous evening. He started at the beginning, not pretending his level was higher than it was. Lesson 1, basic vocabulary, simple sentence structures. He felt slightly impatient. This was slow. He knew some of this already. He wanted to skip ahead to harder material. He stayed in lesson 1. He practiced the vocabulary. He said the sentences aloud, quietly to himself, feeling slightly self conscious about it. 15 minutes. Done. He did not feel transformed. He did not feel the big, exciting energy of a 2 hour session. He felt steady, like he had done one small thing that was quietly, simply right. He wrote in his notebook, day 1, 15 minutes, lesson 1. Lesson 1, small. Done. This is the beginning. He thought about Hamdi's words. Small steps compound. Big steps taken occasionally do not. He had never tried the small step approach before. Every previous attempt had been big, ambitious, intense, dramatic. This felt almost too quiet, almost too small. He kept going. Daily English sentences. Repeat after me. 15 minutes. Small. Done. That is the beginning. I stay in lesson 1 even when I want to skip ahead. Small and consistent produces more than big and occasional. I feel steady, not transformed. Steady is the right feeling. Small steps compound. I trust the compound effect. I write it down. Small, done, beginning. Those words matter. This is how it starts, quietly, without drama, every single day. Lesson 2, the first month. 1 month of 15-minute morning sessions, 30 mornings. Not all perfect, 3 had been 10 minutes, 1 had been 8, but all of them something. Zaid looked at what 1 month had produced. His vocabulary had grown more than he had expected from such small daily sessions. Because each morning's 10 or 15 words had been reviewed the next morning and the morning after, and the pattern had let them sink in more deeply than a single long session ever had. His listening comprehension had improved because every morning a short clip of English audio had been part of the session. Every morning, 30 times. Each one slightly more natural feeling than the one before. And something else, something he had not expected. He was thinking in English sometimes, not always, not fluently, but occasionally, when he was doing something routine, not demanding full attention. English phrases arrived in his mind, words he had practiced that morning, sentence patterns he had reviewed, small pieces of the language appearing naturally in his thinking rather than being consciously retrieved. He had never experienced this from the big sessions. The small sessions, repeated daily, building on each other, had started to make the language a part of his thinking rather than just a subject he studied. He wrote in his notebook, 1 month, small steps every morning. The language is starting to live inside me, not just in the notebook. 30 steps, compound effect beginning. Daily English sentences, repeat after me. 1 month of small steps. The language is living inside me now. 30 mornings, each one building on the last. Words I practiced this morning appear in my thinking today. Daily repetition does what occasional big sessions cannot. The compound effect is beginning. I can feel it from the inside. Small steps are changing the way I think, not just what I know. 30 steps. The foundation is real. I keep stepping. Lesson 3. 3 months. The compound effect visible. 3 months, 90 mornings. After his conversation with Hamdi, Zaid had a university entrance interview. The program required a short English conversation as part of the assessment. 5 minutes. Simple topics. The interviewer wanted to hear the applicant's English and assess basic communication ability. 3 months ago, this would have been difficult. His English had been stiff, slow, limited in the ways that big occasional sessions produce. Some knowledge, little flow. Today, he sat across from the interviewer. The questions were standard. What are your goals? Why this program? What interests you about engineering? Zaid answered. His English was not perfect. He used a slightly wrong preposition once. He paused once to find a word, but it flowed. Sentence followed sentence with a naturalness that had not been there 3 months ago. He expressed ideas, not just vocabulary, in English. He responded to what the interviewer said, not just to what he had prepared to say. The interviewer wrote something on a form and said, "Your English communication is solid. That will serve you well in the program." Solid. 3 months of 15 minutes, 90 small steps. He thought about what Hamdi had said. Small steps compound, and compound steps over time produce something that big, occasional efforts never quite reach, because big, occasional efforts produce knowledge without flow. Small daily steps produce both slowly together. He wrote in his notebook, university interview, English assessment. Interviewer said solid. 3 months of small steps built that word, 90 steps. One solid, daily English sentences. Repeat after me, 3 months, 90 steps. The interviewer said solid. Flow developed from small daily steps, not from big sessions. I responded to what was said, not just what I had prepared. Small steps produce knowledge and flow together. Big sessions produce only knowledge. Solid. One word that 90 mornings built. Compound effect is not magic. It is small steps every single day. 90 steps to solid. The next 90 will go further still. Lesson 4. 1 year. The miracle. 1 year after his first 15-minute morning session, Zaid sat in his first semester at university. Engineering, the competitive program, the one that had required solid English. He was in a seminar, a discussion about a recent paper they had all read, in English. The lecturer asked questions. Students responded. Zaid raised his hand. He made a point about the methodology of the paper, a specific, nuanced, technically informed point in English that the lecturer received with genuine engagement. That is an interesting observation, the lecturer said. Can you develop it further? Zaid developed it further. 2 more sentences. The class discussion shifted around his point. He sat back. He thought about 1 year ago, about the 15-minute sessions that had felt too small, about the first morning, lesson 1, basic vocabulary, slightly impatient, staying in it anyway. He counted 351 sessions in a year, 14 missed, illness, travel, truly impossible days, 351 small steps, each one on its own, almost nothing. Together, a student who raised his hand in an English university seminar and made a point that moved the discussion. He thought about the miracle, not a dramatic moment, not a transformation, just the quiet, invisible, extraordinarily powerful accumulation of small steps, each one ordinary, all of them together extraordinary. He wrote in his notebook, Year 1, 351 sessions, raised my hand in the seminar today, made a point, lecturer developed it, small steps built this, not one big step, 351 small ones. Daily English sentences, repeat after me, 351 small steps. This is what they built. I raised my hand, I made a point. The class followed it, not one big step. 351 small ones. Each step ordinary, all of them together, extraordinary. The miracle of small steps is quiet and real and mine. Small steps do not add up. They multiply. I have seen that now. I keep stepping. The miracle continues as long as I do. Final words. Take the small step. Zaid's story is simple. He had tried big sessions. They had worked for weeks and then stopped. Every time. One conversation with Hamdi showed him a different way. 15 minutes every day. No drama, no big ambition. Just one small step consistently taken day after day, compounding into something that big, occasional sessions had never built. 1 year later, 351 steps, a university seminar, a hand raised, a point made, a lecturer who said, "Can you develop that further?" Maybe you have tried the big sessions too. Maybe you have started with intensity and stopped when the intensity faded. I want to suggest something simple. Start small, smaller than feels sufficient. 15 minutes, 10 minutes. Whatever is small enough that you will genuinely do it tomorrow and the day after and the day after that, regardless of how busy or tired or unmotivated you feel. Take that step today, tomorrow, every day. And do not look for the miracle in one step. Look for it in the 351st, because that is where it lives, in the accumulation, in the compound, in the quiet, invisible, extraordinarily powerful result of small steps taken consistently over long stretches of ordinary time. The miracle is real. Take the first small step toward it. See you in the next one. Stay calm, stay consistent, and trust the miracle of small steps.